Ever dreamed of just, you know, biking through like a picture-perfect archipelago with like finished pastries in hand?
Oh, yeah.
Well, today we're handing you the virtual bike and a whole travel diary to explore.
Sounds delicious. I'm in.
You get ready to discover the Kemiön region of Finland.
Okay.
Mosquitoes and all.
Ah, mosquitoes and all. I'm already intrigued, especially if there are pastries.
Oh, there are pastries. Don't you worry about that.
Okay.
But let's start at the beginning, shall we? Our meticulous diarist sets off from Lappeenranta, and day one is all about the journey to Kasnes. Naturally, a coffee break is the first order of business.
As it should be.
Right. So they swing by this place called, get this, Neste Ke Sipunlahti.
Okay.
I'm picturing something like, charmingly Finnish.
Yeah.
But sadly, the diary focuses on the important stuff. They got their coffee and pastry fix.
Of course.
However, lunchtime at Taishan Arki in Taiho, well,
Let's just say the diary entry went a little something like this. Quote, pancakes tasted like they were cooked on the moon, low heat, undercooked.
wow, that's brutal. You know you're dealing with a serious foodie when they're willing to throw down similes like that in their travel diary.
It's setting the tone for the whole trip, wouldn't you say? Every meal is meticulously documented.
Wow.
But back to the journey. They finally make it to Kasnes, and it's time for the real adventure to begin, boarding the ferry, the MS Stella, to Vanu Island.
Okay, now we're talking ferries, islands. This is what archipelago dreams are made of.
And they've got a cafe on board, naturally.
Naturally, I'm starting to think our diarist has a sixth sense for tracking down coffee and pastries wherever they go.
It's a valuable skill to have, I have to say. But I am curious, what about Vanu Island itself? Did it live up to the hype?
Well, picture this. A landscape dotted with juniper bushes, bathed in that soft Baltic light, with surprisingly few tall trees.
Okay.
It's not your typical forest-filled island,
Right.
which I have to say makes it even more intriguing.
You're right. There's something alluring about that kind of stark beauty. Did they mention anything about the beaches?
They set up camp near Sandstranden Beach, which I'm guessing was stunning. Although a sudden downpour put a damper on things initially. Luckily, they were prepared, got their tent set up quickly. They even had time for a quick detour to a nearby chapel, the Venus Kapelle.
Wait, a tiny chapel on a remote Finnish island? Okay, that's going straight on my travel bucket list.
Yeah.
I can practically see the Instagram-worthy photos now.
I know, right? It's those little details that make you feel like you're experiencing the trip alongside them.
Right.
And speaking of details, day two wouldn't be complete without.
A meticulously detailed breakfast description?
You know it. Oatmeal, muesli, blueberry soup, and coffee. It's like becoming their signature breakfast of champions.
I have to admit, I'm getting a little hungry just listening to all of this.
Well, prepare yourself, because after breakfast, they make a return visit to the Strandhugget Cafe.
Okay.
Now, I don't know about you, but I'm starting to get curious about this place. We know they have beer and water refills. But what about the vibe, the pastries?
Right. It's like they're dropping us into these charming locations without giving us the full picture. Maybe they were so focused on documenting every single bite of food that the ambiance got lost in translation.
Maybe. But speaking of food, they don't linger in Venu for long. They hop on the ferry back to Kasnes and then set their sights on Dalsbrück, a charming village known for its history and, you guessed it, its food scene.
Okay. I'm ready for another glowing food review. Hit me with the culinary highlights.
Get ready to take notes.
Mhm.
Our dedicated foodie cyclist discovers Portside Restaurant and declares the fried vendis a must-try.
Ooh, fried vendis. That's a local delicacy, a small fish from the Baltic Sea. Full of flavor. They've got good taste.
They even approve of the Portside beer, which I'm taking as a sign of a successful dining experience.
Yeah.
But wait, there's more. Dessert is calling, and this time it's a beachside cafe serving up coffee and coconut pastry.
Okay, I'm starting to think that food coma should be added as a potential hazard on this cycling route.
Right. And just when you think they're done, they make a pit stop at Dalsbrück Sale for, wait for it, sauna beers.
Sauna beers. Okay, that's a new one. But I have to admire their commitment to embracing the Finnish sauna experience.
Right.
They clearly understand the importance of staying hydrated.
Absolutely. But all this talk of food and drinks, and we haven't even gotten to the cycling part yet. They eventually make their way to Brennboda and settle into their accommodation for the night, the Ravintola Kansakuluja Matalo.
Hold on, did you just say restaurant, primary school, and guest house?
That's exactly what I said.
Okay, that's definitely piquing my curiosity. Tell me more.
Picture this. An old school house, charmingly converted into a guest house. But the detail that really tickled our diarist, the lack of locks on the rooms.
No locks. That's either incredibly trusting or a recipe for disaster. Either way, it speaks volumes about the atmosphere of the place.
It does, doesn't it? But before we delve into the psychology of lockless guest houses, let's talk pizza. Remember that pre-ordering I mentioned earlier?
Oh, right. The pizza strategizing was strong with this one.
Well, their pizza of choice was the Kemiön mozzarella, bacon, and garlic. And let me tell you, after a long day of cycling, even with a few sauna beers in them, that pizza hit the spot. They even make a point of mentioning how much they enjoy the sauna at the guest house.
Okay, that sounds like the